Hey guys, this is your league commissioner with the Week 11 recap. You know the old expression, be careful what you wish for. Uh, I never wanted to admit this, but earlier this season I found a magic lamp, and that's the only reason that I've been doing so well. My first wish was to have the best team in the history of fantasy football, and my wish was granted. Just like that, no strings attached. It's hard for those tricky genies to fuck up a simple wish like that. But earlier this week I said, I kind of hope that I lose this weekend. And the genie must have misunderstood me, and he used up my second wish. Why would I wish such a thing, you ask? First off, I didn't need the win as bad as Timmy did. And I didn't really think it was fair that our dad did such a bad job drafting his team, and then Timmy would have to play in the Shiva Bowl, because my dad. But the real reason is that everyone in this league, except for Nick and Kyle, would rather see Nick and Kyle in the Shiva Bowl. So I did it. I took the bullet, for the good of the league. And yes, just like Jesus Christ, I am perfect, without sin, without boneheaded fantasy football moves. I am the sacrificial lamb that was slain, so that the rest of the league would not perish in the Sacco Bowl, but have everlasting playoff chances. But I forgot how tricky genies can be, and I wasn't careful with my wish. I wished that my team would lose, and the only way for that to happen was for my two-star running backs to get injured, and for the rest of my team to completely just shit the bed. Thanks Shiva, they still haven't found a cure for Hopkins lymphoma, and that he was able to put up a good game. But now I'm worried about injuries. I have such a big lead that I'm just going to bench every player on my team so that they can't get hurt anymore. Timmy's now 2 games ahead of those last two spots, and he even passed Eric in the standings. My team is still going to finish in first place, but my 6 game win streak is over. Kyle Besa has very quietly won 4 games in a row. So the first win of this streak was in week 8, and he moved up 3 places that in the standings that one week. But since then, he's won 3 more games and only moved up 1 place. That's why I said quietly won. He's not making moves yet because everyone else in that middle pack keeps winning. Uh, his win this week was over Don't Hate the Slayer, who Kyle Erdensberger's team is now more broken than Justin Forsett's arm. No, I'm just kidding. But he just had a really bad week. And Kyle's now lost 6 weeks in a row. And somehow he managed to move up in the standings. And that's because Nick's team's lost 4 in a row and has retaken last place from Kyle. It's nice of them, to switch things up every once in a while. I mean, I wouldn't always want to be on bottom. Adam didn't just get the biggest blowout over Nick, he got the biggest blowout over the whole league. In a very low scoring week for the NFL, Adam scored 124.5 points, while no one else even scored 90 or more points. Thomas Rawls was this week's MVP, and Adam picked him up off the waiver wire just in time. Lucky timing or brilliant move? Maybe a little bit of both. Joey had a little bit of a car ride on Sunday morning and didn't realize that Marshawn Lynch was out. He couldn't quite check his injury reports. Will Tye, the guy on a bye, lost to Suck My Dugger Nuts. Mike was sure happy to get Doug Martin from Adam, but Chris Ivory really didn't do anything. Kind of like Eric, who I'm pretty sure has just given up or stopped caring about this league. He played 3 guys on a bye and barely beat his season low of 36 points. Luke put up his lowest score of the season, but still gets the win. Captain America also gets a win over just girly things. Will has fallen from 2nd to 6th place over the last 2 weeks, I think, and while Luke and Curtis have moved up into 4th and 5th place. So here's the current playoff picture. One team has clinched a first round bye. That would be me. And 4 teams have been eliminated, pretty much. And here's what I mean by pretty much. Timmy and Eric are 2 games behind 6th place with 2 weeks to go. So they can't do any better than 6. The only way that either one of them can make playoffs is if they win out. Will, Kyle, and Mike have to lose the rest of their games, which is possible because none of them play each other. And Timmy would have to gain 120 points over Will, and Eric would need to gain 220. So that's why I say the teams are eliminated. The 7 remaining teams are the playoff contenders, and they are only 1 game apart. 5 of these 7 will make playoffs. So which 2 won't? Well, it's too early to say for sure, but I've ranked them by their probabilities. And it's based on 3 things: the current standings, the total points scored, and their remaining schedule. So first up, best chance is Adam. He's a game ahead. He scored a lot of points. He plays Timmy. Luke, he's right in the middle in the standings. He scored more points than all the other contenders, and he plays Joey, who has scored very few points. Uh, Next in line, next highest probability is Joey, because he's a game ahead, but he has scored the fewest points out of all these contenders, so that drops him down a little bit. And he plays Kyle, so that brings him up. Curtis is right in the middle, and he's got the second most points out of all the contenders. Will is a game behind, but he has an easy remaining schedule against Nick and Timmy. Kyle Besa is a game behind, but he plays Eric, so basically he's right there. And last but not least, lowest probability of making playoffs, which is still about a 40% chance, so it's not like he's gone, definitely a contender. Mike, he's a game behind, scored the second fewest points of all the other contenders. With the playoff race so close, every game is important. But the games between playoff contenders are more interesting because they'll shake things up more, and you can catch up a whole game on someone rather than just half a game. So the Week 12 games between playoff contenders, so the two important matchups are Mike versus Curtis and Joey versus Luke. The other Week 12 matchups are Brian versus Kyle Besa, Kyle Ernsberger versus Eric, Timmy versus Adam, and Nick versus Will. Yes, these are the same matchups as Week 1. Next week you'll play whoever you played in Week 2. And I'm sorry to do this, guys, but I have some really bad news. This is going to be my last recap video. I used my third wish from my genie, and the New England Patriots have requested my services as their new slot receiver. Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, Brian Kohovic. Soon my name will be synonymous with these guys, except I'm going to be better than Wes Welker. Pick me up off the waiver wire and start me this week.